Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about the brand new Mad for Matte palette by e.l.f. You guys know these palettes get so much hype. The first one, the second one were so amazing. The smoky one was really good, and now they've come out with a new one, which is called Jewel Pop. So I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the palette, give you an overall review so that you guys can make an informed decision on whether or not it's something that interests you. Starting with the actual palette, it looks just like all of the other Mad for Matte palettes, the same packaging. It's nice and sleek and small. It also comes with a mirror, which I really appreciate. It's got 10 shadows in the palette. You've got your standard matte black and your standard kind of bone colored shadow that I believe are in all of the Mad for Matte palettes. So you know you've always got your brow bone highlight and your deepening shade, but then as you guys can probably tell, the shades in between are a lot more vibrant, a lot more colorful than what we've seen before from these palettes. The first two of these palettes were great for creating just matte neutral eye looks, and then the third palette was great for a matte smoky look. This palette is more about the big pops of color. So when I first looked at this palette, I got really excited. I think the colors are vibrant, they're beautiful, they're unique. But then when I sat down to actually make a tutorial and make an eye look with it, I kind of got stumped. And I think what I was struggling with the most is a transition color. So we've got this kind of mustardy brown yellow, which is a really cool, really unique transition color, but is not one that goes with all of these vibrant colors. And then kind of this gray brown, same thing. It's a cool, unique color, but it's also not a color that's gonna go with all of these in the palette. I kind of wish that there was one just really, really versatile transition color, because although I think these two are very cool, very unique, everything in this palette is unique. So you want something that's going to be able to ground the palette and go with any of these colors in here. As far as pigmentation goes of these shades, the two that really, really stood out to me were the black shade and the green shade. They are so creamy, so opaque and pigmented. I'll show you guys the swatch on my arm, and those two really, really stick out among the rest of the shadows. They look and feel very high-end. The other shades remind me a lot of the other Mad for Matte palettes, with the exception of, I would say, these three shades right here. This bright blue, bright purple, and kind of like fuchsia here were a little bit more patchy than I wanted them to be. I feel like you would really need to build up those colors if that was your statement in your eye look, and probably pair it with a primer. So those kind of left something to be desired in my opinion. So like I said, I kind of struggled with the look I wanted to create, and what I ended up doing is going in with the bone colored shadow all over my lid, kind of setting my concealer with that, and then taking this mustardy transition color through my crease, and then deepening that up with the other transition color right here, which is like a brown gray. And then my main color that I used was this shade right here. It's kind of like a burgundy shade. I felt like it was still a really wearable look. I wanted to show that you can create really wearable looks with a palette like this. And then I went in with the black to kind of deepen the outer corners. And I switched out my blending brush a lot of different times, and I felt like the shadows started to look a little bit muddy when blending one on top of the other. They weren't really keeping their pigment as well as I wanted them to. So definitely keep that in mind. The other thing that I wish this palette had, and I know it's not going to because it's a Mad for Matte palette, but when I'm going to use colors this bright, I kind of want some sort of a shimmery shade to play around with as well. Though I think the matte theme really works with smoky looks and neutral looks. With really intense eyeshadow looks, you either need extremely pigmented colors that you can wear on their own, or you need some shimmer to layer over top of some shades that maybe are lacking a little bit to complete the eye look. So that's kind of the struggle with this palette and coming up with the look. If you want to use one of these shades all over your lid, you're really going to need to build it up unless it's the green or the black. And there's no kind of forgiving shimmer in here to mask maybe a little bit of patchiness. So kind of overall, the pros to the palette are the uniqueness of the shades. Even these transition colors are ones that we don't really see a whole lot from drugstore palettes. The fact that it comes with a mirror and it's only $10, and that some of these shades are extremely pigmented, comparable to high-end. And then if you have all the other Mad for Matte palettes, it's kind of nice as a collector's item to have all of the palettes together. The cons to this palette are that some of the shades are definitely more pigmented than others. Like I said, the green and the black are amazing, but these purples and blue definitely leave something to be desired. And I also found as I was blending them that some of the shades ended up looking a little bit more muddy than others. So it's a $10 palette. I'll leave it up to you on whether or not you think it's worth it based off of this review. That being said, I am glad that I got it. I think there's a lot of different looks you could create with that palette, and I like having all the Mad for Matte palettes kind of as a collection. But when my order for that came in, my order for the Correct and Set eye powder also came in, which I did go ahead and set my under eyes with. I actually baked with this. You guys know I don't usually bake my under eyes, but the directions on it actually said to use it for baking. I got mine in the shade Deep, which I didn't mean to do, and I didn't even realize until after I had already applied my powder. And I feel like this was pretty brightening for my skin tone, and I definitely don't have a deep skin tone. So I'd be interested on how brightening this would be on an actual deep skin tone. I feel like it did a beautiful job of brightening up my face, brightening up my under eyes, and setting everything. That said, I don't think it hid my pores as well as, say, the No. 7 powder does. As much as I tried to push the powder in with the sponge, I feel like it kind of just sat on top. But I do have larger pores right here, so that's just kind of a personal thing for me. The other issue I had with it was it says to use it for baking, but there's no way you can use this little cap to pour the product in to bake. So I ended up using my No. 7 cap and dipping my sponge in there. So that's just a minor packaging thing that makes it a little bit more inconvenient to bake your face, but it feels really luxurious. It did a great job of brightening, but I do want to see how it wears throughout the rest of the day, and I also want to see how this eyeshadow does. If I have any problems with it, if it starts to wear off. So I am going to continue wearing this look throughout the rest of the day, and I will check in with you at the end and kind of let you know if the powder really held up my foundation better than usual. I'm wearing the Physicians Formula foundation, and then if the eyeshadow creased or started to wear off at all. So stay tuned if you want to see the staying power of these products. Hey guys, so it's now the end of the day. I'm ready to take my makeup off. I took my hair down. I always try and wear my hair up, but then I get a headache and I end up taking it down. The eyeshadow lasted really well. I'm actually really impressed by the staying power considering I did not use a primer. So I think using a primer in this case would really just help with the pigmentation, but the staying power is there. So thumbs up to that. And then the powder looks really, really great. I feel like my under eyes look freshly applied. Granted, I did blot throughout the day because I'm not doing a foundation test. So I think this is a really, really nice, affordable banana powder if you are in the market for one, but do keep the shade weirdness in mind. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe while you are here, and I will see you in my next video.